Hi friends, welcome to a new week. My name is Heidi and you can find me at Books and Cables on both Ravelry and Instagram. I'm just sitting outside right now for a little bit of outdoor knitting before one of my friends picks me up and we go to Monday knit night together. And I'm not sure I'm gonna have very much to say this week just because I'm focusing pretty monogamously on a couple of projects. This is one of my Marie Wallens. It's called the Finch sweater. It's one of her few designs that are available as a standalone PDF. And I really like how the colors are turning out. And I'm really trying to step up my Marie Wallen game because I know she usually has a booth at the Edinburgh Yarn Festival, and I would die if I get to meet her while wearing one of her designs. So that is the new goal, is to finish as many projects as possible before I go to, oh I said that weird, before I go to the Edinburgh Yarn Festival, just so I can have a full range of outfits. Okay, there's some people walking by and I feel awkward sitting here talking to myself, so I'm gonna end it there. Yeah, just after knit night today, and gonna make some progress on a lot of projects I hope this week. I'll talk to you guys later. Hi friends, happy Tuesday. Very excitingly, I finished the body of my Ixchel sweater. And I think I might even cast on the arms right away, so I'll actually have a finished object soon. Oh, but while I have you here, I'm gonna tell you about a silly mistake past Heidi made that now I have to fix. I hate past Heidi. So this, remember this? This is my Orkney cardigan. This weekend I was inspired to pick it up. And I picked up the neck. I did the neck band there. But then I noticed that I really effed up on the shoulders. Like this one I did it evenly, the side, the front is shorter than the back. And I don't know why I decided to cast off in weird places when I was sticking the arms. I basically tried to follow the original instruction, which I now know is like a gradual cast off to make a slope shoulder. What I should have done, knowing that I was going to steek it, is actually do short rows to make the back higher rather than follow the cast off instructions. Past Heidi did not know that. Present Heidi does know that and hates past Heidi. So it is what it is, and it does look too beautiful for me to just decide that it's not worth saving. So I think what I'm just gonna do is fold all of this excess fabric in and sew the sleeves over it. It'll be a little bit bulky just at the seaming edge, but eventually it'll felt in, or I'll cut it off. So see, there's like a little bit of excess, so I'm just gonna fold that in when I do this, when I set in the sleeves, so that it'll be inside and hidden from view. It'll be a bit messy on the inside, but yeah, many lessons were learned from this cardigan. I steeked the middle, and I didn't do a reinforcement. To be honest, I thought the yarn seemed sticky enough that I was pretty confident, so I've just left it, and it did make a pretty clean edge when I cut it, so I'm not really worried about it unraveling. So I just have to pick up the button bands for those and finish the sleeves. And I actually did start the sleeves, so I'll show you my progress on that. So here's where I've got to so far for the sleeve. The motifs, you might notice, is slightly different. So it's like same but different, you know. So the same, you can see it matches, but the colors are different. I might be losing a game of yarn chicken, however, with this purple that's right there. because it was kind of the dominant color through the body, and now I still have to use it as an accent through this, but I literally have the smallest French. Let me grab it. If I can find it. Okay, here it is. This is how much I have left of this purple, this darker purple there, which I have to make last for 2 sleeves. But it's a minor part, like right here. There's another section up here that has the purple, but I don't know, I think it's almost time to say I've lost the yarn chicken. And buy a new ball of yarn. And the good thing about Rowan Felted Tweed, the good / bad thing about Rowan Felted Tweed is it comes in 50-gram balls, and of a very low yardage for like $16. So it's not a very, you don't get as much value for your money, but for color work it's really good if you're doing like 12+ projects, so you don't have to buy a massive 300 yard skein in order to use it only for a small section. So good and bad about it. Usually that's why I prefer to use Shetland, like Jameson of Shetland and Jameson and Smith, because it's the same size, but it's usually around 10 to 12 compared to $16 for the same amount. So it does go a little bit further, but you know, when you're importing yarn. I just noticed that this man might have been in the background of the video the whole time, just as an explanation. I don't know him, but this was part of the decoration that I had put up for like a speakeasy themed 1920s murder mystery party I had in my apartment, and I just never took down the decorations because I'm lazy. So occasionally this guy does make an appearance. This is where I take a lot of my photos. Although this door doesn't close, so sometimes my butt bumps into it and opens the door and it reveals all of the mess that I've hidden in that room. So that room, if I ever get around to it, will be my craft room. And I was hoping when I was initially thinking of the idea for the podcast, that it would be my backdrop, because I have this beautiful like mint colored chair in there, but I just haven't gone around to sort of packaging everything up and then setting it up nicely so that it's a workspace. It'll happen eventually. The other thing that I needed to tell you before I call it a night, this weekend I'm going to 2 exciting things. The whole weekend at Wabi Sabi, Donna, who owns Roots and Rain, a local Ottawa natural dyeing company, is doing her trunk show at did I already say Wabi Sabi? I can't remember now. My memory's so short, I can't remember the beginning of the sentence. Okay, well, Wabi Sabi, Donna from Roots and Rain, trunk show, summarized. And the other event I'm going to this Saturday is Bleu Poussiere, a natural dyeing company out of Montreal, I believe, is launching their yarns at a local yarn store called Pure Lane, etc. And I'm really excited to see her in person and see her yarns in person. She does some really beautiful stuff. She has 4 bases, 1 Superwash BFL, 1 Superwash Merino, but also one it's called Tega, which is a sort of untreated Quebec sheep wool, and also a mohair silk blend. So I'm really excited to squish everything in person. I don't know if I'm gonna be buying that much there because I've broken my no buy rule a few times, but for exciting projects like this one. So we shall see if something catches my eye. Did I purchase it? Oh, I did purchase something that I can show you. So I mentioned that I went to my knit night on Monday, since we're talking about local companies. I keep thinking of more things to tell you about. So Celine, who is a local dyer, she owns Cactus Yarn Studio. She did a special yarn delivery to our Monday knit night. It's this beautiful grello. So I don't think I've ever told you about my idea for a scavenger hunt. So I still have leftovers from my birds of a feather shawl. So I did like the first section of the free your fade in it, and I still have like enough, I think, to do the first section of the find your fade, which only uses like a teeny tiny, even though it calls for 7 colors, it uses a teeny tiny section of color for the first one. So I think I'm going to use my leftovers of the gray with like it's Construct by Hedgehog Fibers. I have another one to do the first section, so I think they would blend really well with this. And the idea is I'm gonna take that beginning with me to Edinburgh Yarn Festival, and I'm gonna do a scavenger hunt, because I always feel really overwhelmed at this sort of yarn event, and I thought, it's called the Find Your Fade Shawl. I will literally find my fade there. And I think that would just give me a goal, because like, for example, at Twist, I was just overwhelmed with the amount of stuff, the amount of people. I didn't know what I wanted, so I didn't end up buying very much, which was a good thing, because I went in with like no budget. But I don't want to come out of Edinburgh Yarn Festival without something to remember the event by. So I thought, what I really want is to meet La Bien-Aimée and get some of her signature Yellow Brick Road. So I thought, how perfect would a sort of yellow Find Your Fade shawl be to remember this trip by? Mostly because I also bought this bright yellow raincoat to take with me. I have to admit, mainly did it for the gram, because I thought, you know, how cool would it be to have like a very moody Scottish scenery and just a bright yellow coat. And it kind of looks like a fisherman's coat too, like the yellow fisherman raincoat. So I thought it would make for some good photos. So yes, I did do it for the gram. Anyway, I'm just chatting on forever now, so I'm just gonna call it a night, and see you guys in a couple of seconds for the next time I decide to record. Okay, bye. Hi friends. This week has taken a turn that I did not expect. So after going to the doctor yesterday morning, I am gonna be on leave from work for about 2 weeks. So I decided, instead of being stuck in my apartment for 2 weeks, I would take the time to go and see my family in Calgary. So I'm gonna be heading off to the airport in a few minutes. Hey friends, it's my second day in Calgary. My mom's just picking up some groceries at Walmart, so I decided to stay in the car and work on my knitting. And yes, it is a sock. I decided I wanted to do something mindless, so I've picked up some sock yarn on my visit to Stash Yarn today, and I think I might be able to get 2 pairs of socks with opposite contrasting heels, toes, and cuffs out of the 2 colors you would have seen in the last video of Hedgehog Fiber, fool's gold and this beautiful marine color. Okay, someone's just pulled in the spot next to me, so I'm gonna stop filming because I feel really awkward about it. Good morning, happy Monday. I just woke up. It's about 6:30 in the morning because I'm still not quite adjusted to the time difference. But I wanted to show you the progress I've made since last night on the sock. So I've added the fool's gold. I love this color, it's beautiful. And I've put in the scrap yarn for where the afterthought heel is gonna go. So I've still got, I would say around 4.5 inches left to go on the foot. So I might be able to finish this sock today. And if I cast on immediately on the second one, I might actually finish my first pair of socks. Because I've done lots of single socks, I've never finished a full pair. Because I'm always like, oh, it's done. Finished one, it's done. So hopefully this will be the first time I actually have a pair of socks. I really think this is a really good process knit, like just to go back to just enjoying the act of knitting again, rather than being like, I really want a pair of socks. So yeah, it's very nice to just feel the stitches and not think about a complicated pattern, because I'm finding it hard to set myself up in the same way I had in my living room back in Ottawa, because I had a system where I had my laptop and then lots of stitch markers around so I could do more complicated patterns. And right now, you know, just I want to be as minimal as possible because I'm here at my parents' house in Calgary. Yeah. Oh, and I thought I'd show you the picture that I took yesterday, which I thought was really funny. So while I was working on my socks downstairs, my grandparents were sitting next to me. So I took a picture, and I originally was like, oh, it'll just be a nice picture of us hanging out together. Then I actually looked at the picture. I noticed that my grandma was playing on her iPad and my grandpa was there on his phone and browsing the internet. And so I posted it on my Instagram story with a caption like, grandparents these days and their technology. And then I had my knitting up. I am using 9-inch circular needles instead of magic looping, or using double pointed needles for my socks. So I know a lot of people struggle with using these because they're so teeny, so I thought I'd show you how I grip them. So it is very tough for the first row because you kind of have to do a magic loop on a sock that's already teeny, but after the first, you're doing top down at least, after the first row you are using the full length. So I just kind of hook my fingers around the bottom and knit like this. I have no idea if this would work as well with English style knitters or throwers or flickers as they are called. But I find that it goes super fast because then you don't have to readjust every few stitches for the loop. You just continue in a circle, so it's just knitting around and around and around. Hi my friends. So Calgary actually has a lot of yarn stores, so today I might be heading out to at least one of them. Because I saw that Lichen and Lace had posted they had a stockist here, so I'm gonna go to that one. It's called the it's a long name. I'll show you when we get there. But in the meanwhile, I'm gonna take you to my mom's closet because she actually has one of my first colorwork sweater in it. So this is, I've told you about this before. It's the Sun Daughter by Diana Walla. And I might see if I can get my mom to take a picture in it today, too. Hi friends, I'm in the car again. I'm just waiting for my mom to get out from her doctor's appointment. And I'm working on my second sock. So I guess I'm in the same place I left you last time. But I did finish this one. So I've used hedgehog fiber this is Fool's Gold and this is Wish, and I really like how there's the blues that are pulled together by the contrasting heels and toes and cuffs. I haven't done the ends yet. I actually ended up making the foot a little bit too long for me to wear, but my mom tried it on and it turns out her foot is slightly longer than mine, so it fits her perfectly. So these are gonna stay with her, and because I'm gonna have a lot of yarn left over, I'm gonna do one with the yellow contrasting toes and cuffs, but blue body. So we'll have opposite matching socks by the end, even though I didn't get the pair of socks that I actually wanted, which is this with the on the body, but you know, it'll do, and I love this color a lot. So, oh, and I did forget to say something. So this is Susan B. Anderson's Smooth Operator sock. It's kind of like a recipe. There is a basic sock pattern to follow, but she has so many variations in there that you can really tailor it to how you want it to fit and insert whatever methods you want. So basically it's a pattern with an afterthought heel. So there's two variations. You can either knit in a scrap bit of yarn for 2 rows and then you unpick that after and then pick up all the stitches for the heels, or you can do a true afterthought, which is you just knit a tube and then you use scissors, cut 1 stitch and then pull out those stitches for 2 rows. So I just did the scrap yarn version. So since this is hopefully going to be my first finished pair of socks, I've done a lot of single ladies, but yeah. What else did I have to say about this? Oh, and I actually did this is a top-down sock, but I did the no Kitchener stitch variation of the heels and the toes. So basically it's like a hat. So you do all the normal decreases until you get to the last 2 rows. You wrap a decrease, so you knit all of them together, knit all the stitches 2 together, and then another round of decreases, and then you pull the yarn through all the threads and you pull it tight and then reinforce and then pull it through on the other side, and it actually makes quite a nice rounded edge rather than like a straight edge here. So, one more thing, a lot of people in this parking lot just watch me film all of that and I'm feeling a bit self-conscious, so I'm gonna leave it at that until I get to the yarn store. Okay, bye! I'm still coming to you from Calgary, where my parents' house is, and I'm just checking in now to say that this is going to be the end of the week. I still have 4 days left here in Calgary, but I think I'm just going to end it here so that I can spend the rest of my time focusing on myself and relaxing and enjoying my time with my family, so that I'll be ready to go back to work in not next Monday but the Monday following. And I did have a really good time here. There were so many yarn stores and they all had their unique offerings and aesthetics, and it was
really neat to see and see how they differed from the offerings in Montreal and Ottawa. Since I was not feeling 100%, I really wanted some things that didn't require me to concentrate super much. As you know, my usual projects are sort of much more complicated, but really I just wanted to enjoy the process of knitting and not have to think so hard about a particular pattern. So a lot of my stocking net stitch only pattern projects have gotten a lot, and I actually purchased a lot more than I usually do in terms of yarn. Also because there was a lot of stuff available that is not usually available to me in Ottawa. So I'll show you the progress I have to date. So this is the turtleneck part of what's going to become a piece of silver sweater. It was in one of the earlier line magazines, and I'm doing it in the smoke color, which is a it's on a single ply merino and silk blend, and it's from Ching Fibers, who is a dyer in the UK, and I'm really excited to have that, even though I probably shouldn't have bought it since she usually vends at Edinburgh Yarn Festival, but maybe it'll be something that another thing I can show a dyer that I had made from them. The other thing I made progress on is my Erie sweater. You would have seen me working on it at the airport. So I finished one of the sleeves. I actually had finished both of the sleeves, but the decrease rate on the arms was completely off for my size. By the time I had gotten to I have short arms anyway, and they wanted a 15-inch arm, which was going to go way past my hands. And actually, by the time I got to the place where I would have put in the cuff, it was still basically, it would have fit my upper arm, so it was huge. So in the end, I decided to go rip it out, that arm that I did, and do the arm with just winging the decrease rate. So instead of following, because I think without giving away the pattern too much, I wanted you to knit a portion before starting the decrease, so I instead started the decrease right away and decreased a lot, very rapidly than it had before, and did it and ended with a shorter cuff than it had asked for. And now it fits really nicely with still a really nice positive ease, and you see it's attached where I have to pick up the stitches again from when I ripped out the arm. So I'm hoping to have that done, and maybe I can wear that home. And my mom ended up with 2 sweaters this time. I left my Birkin with her. Maybe I'll put the picture of her wearing it now. And actually I'm giving her my throwback sweater, which I only finished recently. The reason why that is because after finishing it, I noticed that one of the balls that I had used is a slightly different shade. So there's a distinct stripe on the bottom, which is kind of frustrating for a yarn that's meant to not really have dye lots. Like a hand-dyed yarn, I would know to alternate because there might be variations, but in this case, it's lopey, so I expect it to not have so much variation. I also started my Birds of a Feather. That's in Lichen and Lace's pressed flower. So I bought that I bought the Ching Fiber from Pudding Yarn, and I bought the Lichen and Lace from Villekulla, I'll put the name again, and you would have seen the footage from me buying it anyway. And then finally you would have already seen my sock. This is the one finished sock, and I'm currently working my way through the second. I'm halfway done the cuff, and I hear my mom coming home, so I'm just gonna say thank you for joining me this week. If you want to find me on any of the social media, you can find me on Ravelry at Books and Cables or on Instagram at Books and Cables. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye!